All right, what is up, internet? It is August 21st, and here's my daily cryptocurrency journal. Full disclosure, I am not a financial advisor, so this is just my personal cryptocurrency journal, right? So if you're looking for financial advice, make sure you go see a financial advisor. That being said, Bitcoin has been in what appears to be some sort of accumulation zone, although I'm unsure on whether or not this is accumulation or distribution yet, right? So I'm kind of just being patient, letting this range play out before I make a definitive decision on whether or not my bias is going to be bullish or bearish. I'm kind of just expecting chop. I'm expecting us to kind of just range in between here. I have some very small zones played out, waiting for a pullback into here to possibly play up to right here. You know, and if we can accept up here, then I'd expect us to make a move up here, right? But I'm not expecting us to break out of this quite yet, or to break down quite out of this. If we do break out of this range, I want to see us at least take this low right here, come down here, maybe test the bottom of the range before making a way up. Ideally, it would be nice if we did make our way down here and we actually had a quick spring, you know, before reversing out of here. I think that could be a definite sign that we are going to get some sort of move out here. Although, again, not sure. We'll have to see how it plays out. But as you guys know, we had this huge sell-off for Bitcoin. So now all eyes on whether or not this is going to be accumulation or distribution. So that's my Bitcoin bias for today, ranging between 25.6K and 26.6K. So that is pretty much from here to up here, right? I'm a bit bullish and thinking we'll experience some upside for Bitcoin, but I don't expect much. At most, I think we get a move to 26.6. At some point, I'd like to see 25.6 taken out. So that is this low. And the lows of the range visited to test liquidity. If we make our way to the lows and hold market structure, I could see us getting a relief rally to 28.8K. Okay, it looks like there's a decent spot bid for BTC. However, it does look like futures is holding down the market. If we get a futures bid, then I could see a decent move for Bitcoin. So just looking at the CVDs for Bitcoin, let's go to the 3 minutes so you can kind of see the entire range. There is a decent spot bid. Okay, of course, we had both futures and spot selling after the sell-off, but then we found a little bit of a bottom here, and it looks like we caught a little bit of a spot bid. Futures, however, though, has been holding down the market. If we look at the spot bid, you can see Coinbase, even Binance, Kraken, OKX buying a little bit. So my eyes, as I'm just watching I'm watching the futures bid for Bitcoin. It would be nice to see this level off a little bit, get a little bit of strength. It does look like at least right here, spot and future, we had both futures and spot selling, with spot leading the move down. So yeah, I'm really looking to see what happens once we get into this area right here, because if we can hold here, right, then I would expect us at least to move here, you know, and maybe even take some of these highs. But that's kind of my plan for today. Which coins look the strongest? So Bitcoin, Sol, and XRP all look pretty strong, decent spot bids, but futures is holding down the market. So you can kind of see the same pattern playing out in some of these other altcoins. You can see that, okay, spot is buying, but futures is holding down the market. That's Solana. With XRP, you can see looks like spot is buying and accumulating. Futures is holding down the market. Although XRP is the only coin that has appeared to put in some sort of sign of strength right here, right? If you want to look at it in terms of Wyckoff, you have like this huge selling climax right there, right? You have an automatic reaction right here, some structure tests right here, and now it does look like this is potentially your sign of strength here. So if we can hold this level right here and Bitcoin does make a move up, then I would expect this high to be taken for XRP to probably make a move up to here somewhere. But if we break down through this, then I think it's much more likely we come down to visit these lows for XRP. But we shall see what happens. So which coin looks the weakest? Composition looks the weakest. Spot and future CVDs have been trending down, and the volatility of the coin hasn't been that much compared to Solana and XRP. So just looking at composition, you can see future CVD trending down, spot CVD trending down. It hasn't been nearly as volatile as some of the other coins. I mean, it's been kind of sitting in this range, which is fine, but yeah, I just think it looks weak compared to the other coins. And Wyckoff structures of the altcoins, okay, so pretty much accumulation structures, just like Bitcoin, or it appears to be accumulation structures. It does look like XRP has put in a sign of strength though, which I already talked about. So that is kind of my plan for today. First, going to look to make a move in here, see what the spot bid is looking like, and seeing if we can get some sort of accumulation here for a small move to the upside here. Otherwise, Otherwise, I'm expecting if we don't hold here, then we'll probably continue down, take out this low, and see if we can get like some sort of a bounce here back up to the upside. All right, so I'll see you guys at the end of the trading day. Peace. Later. All right, what is up, internet? It is August 22nd, and here's my daily cryptocurrency journal. I'm combining this with yesterday's cryptocurrency journal because I was not able to do my end of the session routine, which is my bad. That's one thing I have in my notes here is I need to be better about finishing the end of the session journals before engaging in leisure time because I ended up hanging out with a friend, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have made sure my journal was done before hanging out. But that being said, I'm just going to combine these two journals together. The session for yesterday did go very well. It was a win for the most part. I ended up taking a long on Bitcoin around this area right here, and I ended up trading it all the way up. I got out about right here, and originally my take profit level was right here. Unfortunately though, I moved my take profit level up to here because I thought that we would have enough momentum to make our way up there, and that did not happen. Instead, we kind of just grinded down, and I got stopped out on my trailing stop loss around here. So that is one of the things that I can improve on is instead of moving my take profit level, I should have kept it in its original position. Yeah, doing that would have allowed me to capitalize on the full breadth of the move, and I originally thought this level here, because it just made sense to me. A lot of the times when you have this avalanching structure down, you'll have moves back up to mitigate all those positions. That's what I should have done. I should have kept that. I would have had a much bigger win. The fact that I did get a winning trade in is very good, but that was the one and only trade that I took. So now for today, I am expecting bearishness for Bitcoin. I'm expecting 25.81 to be broken for Bitcoin. So that is this low right here. Overall, I think these ranging conditions will continue at least for 1 to 3 days. Once the low of 25.81 gets broken, if we hold, then I expect Bitcoin to run the highs of 26.2. So if we basically hold in this area right here, I'm expecting Bitcoin to come and break these highs, right? Assuming that we do get down there, right? Now, another scenario that I have drawn out is if we instead just kind of bounce right here, then I would expect us to probably come up here, maybe run these highs before continuing the trend down, or you could even have a smaller move up to right here before continuing down. That's kind of what I'm expecting, so I'm kind of expecting bearishness. Okay, what's the Wyckoff structure for? It's a debate on whether or not this is an accumulation or redistribution structure. At the moment, there appears to be a lack of a spot bid, so I think there's a higher probability that this is redistribution. So just looking at this in terms of Wyckoff, I'm still debating on whether or not this is accumulation or distribution, although I do think it's a higher probability that it is redistribution, simply because if you look at the CVDs, you can see there is a lack of a spot bid here, right? There was a little bit of a spot bid here, but it's kind of been trailing off, and futures has also been selling pretty hardly. So that tells me that there's a higher probability that this is redistribution and that this low will actually get taken. But I think we'll have to see what happens once we actually make it down to the bottom of the range, right? Especially if we make it down to the bottom of the range and spot is still not buying, then I think it's a lot more likely that this low gets broken and we go a little bit lower. However, if we do come down to the bottom of the range, right, and the spot bid does pick up and the futures bid picks up, then it's much more likely that the low will hold and we'll at least get some sort of a short-term relief rally. How high that relief rally will go, I'm unsure, but if we just even zoom out on the larger time frames, you can just see we have been in a downtrend for quite a significant amount of time. So it would not surprise me if the downtrend does continue, although when you do have a big sell-off liquidation event like that, it does mark the possibility, it does increase the possibility in my mind that this will be at least a local low of some sort. I am looking for a relief rally of some sort at some point. I just don't know if that's going to occur right here or if we need to go lower to seek liquidity. You know, if we run this low, right, and we start to break market structure, then I think it increases the probability that this was indeed the top. I guess we'll have to see, you know, because you could even see this event over here, right? You got this low that was broken and you had a really short accumulation phase right here, which lasted for how long? This accumulation lasted for 2 days and then you shot up out of here. I don't know if that's some similar thing. I don't know if that's a similar thing that could happen right here where we break down here, we accumulate, and then we shoot back up. Although just zooming out on the larger time frames, you know, if you want to look at this in terms of Wyckoff, right? This was your selling climax. This is your automatic reaction. Here was your spring, right? And then you can almost think of this as your spring test right here. And then this technically should have been the sign of strength, right? So if this is indeed the sign of strength and we're coming back down to the top of this structure, that does worry me a bit. You know, it makes me feel like this support is actually weak that this indeed was not a sign of strength, and this is instead like an overextended UTAD event, which increases the probability that we'll fall back down into this range to probably come back down to the lower parts of the range. So that's the more bearish long-term time frame that I have if we indeed do break down into this range. Otherwise, like, we got to start seeing spot buying. We got to see some buying come into Bitcoin. Because if Bitcoin does not pick up here, right, and we kind of just trade sideways a lot more, then I think it increases the probability that we'll just have like maybe a minor relief rally before nuking down and retesting the bottom of the range. But yeah, that's kind of my long-term view of Bitcoin at the moment. Okay, what coin looks the strongest? Okay, all the coins look bearish, but Comp looks the least bearish since it's trading sideways, right? Comp has just kind of been trading sideways as compared to like Solana has been trading down. XRP has been trading down. What are the Wyckoff structures for your coins of focus? They all look like they're in markdown phases. I believe they'll go retest the liquidation wick. Okay, so for these selves, you have like this huge liquidation wick, especially for XRP, but even Solana has a really big liquidation wick too. And I think that these coins are going to come down to at least test the bottom of the liquidation wick, if not just break through. But maybe we'll start seeing some bullishness once we actually come down to the lower parts of this range, right? XRP, I don't know if we'll get that just because of simply how large the liquidation wick is, but perhaps maybe we could get just a test of the midpoint, right? Because we didn't really get a test of the midpoint right here, so it would make sense to me if we came down here, at least tapped the midpoint of the range before finding some bullish support. But right now it's very bearish. You know, my bias is bearish, and I'm looking to take shorts today unless we get down to this range and there's a good place for accumulation for at least some sort of bounce. But we shall see. Oh yeah, I should talk about open interest. Open interest has been increasing, and if you look at the funding rates for Bitcoin, it is increasing. So there could be longs that are entering in here, which may or may not get flushed. We shall see. It does not look like there has been a substantial liquidation of some sort yet, so I would probably look to flip long, at least for a short bounce, once we do get one of these big green, like 1 million plus liquidations. As for right now, we're kind of just getting intermittent liquidations. We'll have to see how the price action responds when we get down here, because if we continue to avalanche down here, then I think it's much likely we break down. But we'll see. We'll have to see if we actually hold, right? And if the spot or futures bid picks up. All right, that's my thoughts for today, and I will see you guys at the end of the trading day. Later. All right, guys, it is the end of the trading day for me, and today ended up being very good. My bias was correct, and we did end up taking out the low of 28.1 here. As you can see, Bitcoin had a little bit of a rally. As you can see, before this low got taken, Bitcoin did have a little bit of a rally right here, and I was able to enter in a Solana short at the top there. So I was able to enter that in right about here with my stop loss above here, and then I rolled that down all the way to about right here. Okay, and when I got out of the trade, I actually was expecting this low to be run for Solana, which ended up happening, but I exited my short prematurely, afraid that it was going to bounce back and I was going to round trip my profit. So that's one thing that I do have to work on, is being steadfast and being steady when it comes to my take profit levels, because although this was a winning trade by a significant amount, there was a lot that I left on the table. If I had just had my original take profit level, then it would have been a much larger win. Bitcoin did bounce a little bit, and then after that it ended up taking this low, and now we're kind of in this avalanching structure here where it's like you're kind of chopping down, coming up. You know, I'm expecting this low to be ran before maybe coming back up, before coming down again. It's just very standard avalanche structure, PA. And then I ended up taking another Solana long right in here. I got in right at the lows here, stop loss right below there. And the reason why I took this that long is because we had a tap on the BTC pair. If I zoom back out a little bit on this, you can see that we tagged basically this liquidation wick right here. So I saw that in confluence with Bitcoin also consolidating at the low here, and had a really nice bounce off this point of entry right here. So that in confluence with Bitcoin told me that, hey, this might be a decent long to take. So I was able to get in, and I rode that basically all the way to the top, like right here, right? So very good trading day. I did take a miss. I did try to long Solana. It was in here, right? Because in here, I thought that Solana was going to bounce when this consolidation was happening here. I thought we were going to get a bounce, but of course it just kind of nuked straight through. But luckily I had my stop loss right below there, so it was able to save me all the pain of this, and I was able to re-enter in a lot lower, especially when this consolidation period happened. I did not get involved on this specifically because I saw the Bitcoin pair. During this consolidation period, you could see that the Bitcoin pair was still hovering above this support and resistance line. So right once this broke through and we got a tag off this, that told me that everything I needed to know, and I hopped in. Of course, none of this is financial advice. So today was very good. I took 3 trades, 2 of them were wins. What went well was my BTC bias was correct to expect bearishness, and my targets were hit. My entries were good for the most part, and I was able to effectively play the market both long and short. What can be improved? I could have been a bit more patient with my entries and exits. While they were good for the most part, there's still room for improvement. I also prematurely exited my SOL short and profit, so I already talked about that. But yeah. My BTC PA was bearish and my bias was correct. It appears we're in an avalanche sort of price action, grinding our way down with intermittent bounces after runs of the local lows. So another thing that's interesting about this range is here, I'm just going to remove all of this. So we just barely tagged the midpoint right here, and that's kind of where I was expecting for us to get a bounce here to potentially run these highs. We'll have to see how that plays out. But another thing that's interesting is if this avalanching PA continues and spot does not continue to bid, if you just take the midpoint of this range, so from like here to here, we're kind of holding underneath the range now, and we're starting to avalanche below the midpoint, which is a sign of weakness for me. So if we continue to avalanche down, I think it's very likely that we'll end up coming to take out this low at some point, or have some sort of capitulation event before we actually have a move up. But that's for tomorrow me to determine based off how the price action goes. Which coin was the strongest? So it looks like XRP was one of the stronger coins, just because although it was trending down relative to Bitcoin, it was trading sideways for the most part, right? And had good bounces, right? It looks like it's having a little bit of a rally here, but yeah, XRP was pretty strong. The coin that was the weak was composition, and it made sense because it looked like it put a UTAD in on a larger time frame. So okay, if we just look at this kind of redistribution zone, you can see there was like an upthrust right here, right? So you can see after this upthrust was put in, this low was taken right here, right? But then it did not completely break down. You had another bounce up for an even bigger UTAD that happened right here. So now that this UTAD took place, I'm fully expecting us to come back down to potentially run these lows before having some sort of bounce. And that was one thing that I should have noticed in the morning. If I spent a little bit more time to analyze the Wyckoff structure, I would have been able to catch what was going on here, because what ended up happening today is we actually had a redistribution phase that happened. There was like a nice redistribution structure that happened. There was a UTAD that happened right here, and that would have been a good place to get involved in on a short to potentially ride the wave down back down to these lows here. And that was, let's see, if I would have gotten in there, that was like a 5% trade. So I'm not disappointed, but it's just a note to myself to pay attention to the Wyckoff structures that are playing out and spend a little bit more time looking at the price action of the coins you're looking at, because you might be missing opportunities, right? So it goes to show the importance of checking the Wyckoff structures of all coins at the start of the day. There could be opportunities that go unnoticed. I did follow my goals from yesterday, although I did prematurely exit my SOL short, which is kind of like flip-flopping on take profit levels. And tomorrow my focus goals are stellar execution, maintaining consistent trading. So this week has overall been profitable for me. I'm up $16.4, which is really, really nice. And I want to be able to maintain that consistency of being able to, get consistent wins, as opposed to having weeks where I do really good and days where I don't do good, and having one day that like removes all the profits that I've made throughout the week. So maintaining consistent trading is important, and also following a take profit execution strategy. All right, so that is it. Done trading early today because of the wins I had, and I feel like if I continue trading, then it's just not necessarily. I had good wins, so I feel like right now is a good time to just walk away and come back tomorrow refreshed and early in the morning. And plus, there's other things that I'd like to do today. So thanks for watching. Once again, this is not financial advice, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.